from Southland Hunter, and I'm going to kind of walk you through how I make my jerky. I've already made my marinade, and I keep it in these Rubbermaid 1 gallon containers. And what I do is I put the meat in here and I will let it sit in the refrigerator for 2 or 3 days to marinate before I actually put it in the dehydrator. I'm going to use my High Mountain Jerky cutting board. It comes with the blade. It's a 13.5-inch blade and a hand protector. It also cuts 3/8 and 1/4 inch. Today I'm going to cut 1/4 inch slices for my jerky. Take the sleeve off the knife. That's one good thing about this board is it's all compact and together. All the pieces go together when you're done with it. Cleans up real quick in the dishwasher. Today we're going to do some venison, fresh from this year, and I'm going to cut this into 1/4 inch slices like I said today. All I'm going to do is lay my meat down on my board. I'm going to put my hand protector over it and then take my blade and slice through. And now I have a nice 1/4 inch cut of meat. It's important to try and keep your meat all the same size when you're dehydrating, because it helps the meat to cook a little more evenly. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and make these 1/4 inch slices, and then I'll come back and I'll cut them down a little bit smaller to go as pieces in the dehydrator. As you can see, my little board here keeps my hands safe from the blade. Okay, so now I've got my slices cut into about 1/4 inch slices, so everything should be even. And the board has little grooves in it so that you can just lay the meat down evenly and just set the knife into one of the grooves and just slide it through, and you end up with a nice, clean, long slice of jerky. And you just throw it right in the marinade. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this one in half. You can make different sizes, different shapes, however you want to do it. This is going to be a little shorter, fatter piece. And I'll leave a link for the cutting board in the bottom of the video. As you can see, this makes it real easy to slice and get pretty evenly sliced pieces of meat. When we finish slicing the meat and getting it laid in the Rubbermaid container, we'll put it in the freezer or the refrigerator, not the freezer, and we'll let it sit for usually 3 days is what I like to do. It gives the meat time to soak in all the flavors from my marinade. And then once we do that, we'll come back and we'll put it in the dehydrator, and I'll go over the dehydration part with you. Meat has sat now for 4 days in the marinade, being prepared, and in an effort to speed the video up, I've already made some of the jerky and put it in the dehydrator, but I'm going to go over these last few steps with you with these last couple pieces of meat. So what I do is I pull the meat out of the marinade and I just give it a squeeze and try and get as much moisture out of it as I can before I lay it on the tray. I'll just give these a few squeezes and throw them on the tray. I like to get all the meat on the tray before I start doing anything else to it. And it doesn't take much. You just give it a light, firm little squeeze in your hand, and it'll run most of the fluid out of it. Some people say you need to tamp it, but with a paper towel. But I don't do that. It does just fine. Just squeezing most of the fluid out with your hand. And that should be all my meat. And the final step before I put it in the dehydrator, I've made my own rub. I have my own rub. I put it in this little shaker. It's easier to spread on the meat this way. And all I'm going to do is just Sprinkle a little bit on the top of each piece. And then I'm going to flip all the pieces over. And it'll stick because you still got a little moisture on the meat. I'm going to flip them all over. And then I'm going to do the underside. I found that if you just put the rub on one side, you don't get the full flavor of it. It's usually best to go ahead and do both sides. And that's going to be good on that there. I'm going to spread these evenly across the tray, space them out a little bit, give them a little more air around each piece as it goes in the dehydrator. So now I've got my tray ready, and I'm going to head on over to the dehydrator with it. Alright, now I'm going into the dehydrator with my last tray of meat. As you can see, I've already filled the other trays. I did that earlier, but I've got them in there now. I'm going to slide the last tray in. This is one of the Cabela's brand dehydrators. I really like this one. It's got 12 trays. We'll put a link for this unit at the bottom of the video. But I've already got my temperature set to 155 and my time set to 8 hours. So I'm going to let this run for 8 hours. I'm just going to push start. It'll preheat itself and it's going to heat and cook the jerky. And in 8 hours we're going to have some delicious venison jerky. And now we fast forward. It's 8 hours later. Our jerky is done. Pull this out. I'm going to pull a tray. And this is finished jerky. It's cooked well. There's no moisture left on top. Now what you want on your jerky, you have to watch your times. They will vary machine to machine. But you want it to be pliable. You don't want it to be brittle. And this has got still got some bend to it. But like I said, all the meat is completely cooked. And it's ready to be eaten. Appreciate you watching the video and look forward to more of them coming to you soon.